Tonight on To The Point, the California Sex Offender Registry.
They've taken advantage of this law with crafty lawyers.
Why the Sacramento Sheriff's Office is sounding the alarm about reforms. Plus, as Florida braces for Hurricane Milton, California crews prepare to help. Local leaders meeting with vice presidential candidate Tim Walz in Sacramento. And later, the Supreme Court taking up ghost guns, how they could change regulations.
Good evening. As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. What was supposed to be reforming California's sex offender registry has now turned into what the sheriff's office is calling a scary part of the law. These two Sacramento County men were recently indicted for attempting to engage in sexual activity with a minor. While they had previous convictions, they were removed from the sex offender database based off a state law enacted back in 2021. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen explains what this law intended to do and how the sheriff's office is responding.
In 2021, California divided the sex offender registry into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is for low-level offenders, Tier 2 is for mid-level offenders, and Tier 3 is for violent offenders and are likely to reoffend.
Law enforcement doesn't want low-level offenders clogging up the sex offender registry. They want to focus on the real bad actors.
That was State Senator Scott Wiener back in 2021. He authored SB 384, explaining the reason for it.
It made the sex offender registry so massive, like 120,000 people in California, that law enforcement could not even use it for its intended purpose.
But the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says it's because of this law that allowed 2 previously convicted sex offenders to go essentially undetected.
Both of them were able, after 2021, to petition the court to be removed from the lifetime registry ban.
The Sheriff's Office says both recently had the intention to reoffend. They say an undercover agent spoke with Kevin Gibson, who was interested in meeting with a minor for sexual acts. During that conversation, investigators say Gibson introduced another man, Kenneth Lorenz, who was also interested in committing the crime. Lorenz was convicted in 1966 and 1984 for indecent exposure and sexual battery. Gibson was convicted in 1991 on 2 counts of lewd acts with a child under 14.
This wasn't just a chat. Like, he was convicted, served time in prison, and was let back out into the public with now no supervision.
Because of the tiered system, the Sheriff's Office says both these men were not required to register as sex offenders. We searched the Megan's Law website and neither of them showed up.
They've taken advantage of this law with crafty lawyers and, again, are taking full advantage.
Senator Wiener refused an interview with ABC 10 but did say these allegations are horrific. And if they are true, the suspects deserve to be held accountable with a long sentence in state prison. He pointed to the fact that his bill was supported by the California District Attorneys Association and California Police Chiefs Association, among other groups.
All right, so I want to go to bring in Jeannie, who's been covering this story for us. Jeannie, the sheriff's office says that both of these men are now at the main jail and they are not eligible for bail. We do want to mention that. But Jeannie, if we can't search them on the Megan Law's website, how are we supposed to protect our friends and family? You know, what advice does the sheriff's office have for everyone tonight?
Well, Alex, the sheriff's office says you should be heavily involved in the lives of your loved ones and your children. Always know where your kids are, who they're talking to, and making sure no stranger is getting access to your loved ones through apps or games.
All right, Jeannie, thank you for the update. We appreciate it. Memorial services were held today for West Sacramento firefighter Tim Hall. Hall died last month during a training exercise. The procession started this morning from the station where Hall served as an engineer for 18 years. Students lined the street to pay their respects, and fellow firefighters and law enforcement also honoring Hall's life.
Tim was a very hard worker, team-oriented, nose to the grindstone, get the work done, just tough as nails, great guy.
Tim was also a volunteer firefighter in Clarksburg for 41 years and a member of the Urban Search and Rescue Task Force. Tim leaves behind a wife, 4 children, and 3 grandchildren. If you would like to support them during this time, we do have a link on our website, abc10.com. Turning now to Hurricane Milton. This is a live look over downtown Tampa tonight. The powerful hurricane is churning in the Gulf of Mexico and is expected to make landfall in the Tampa Bay area overnight Wednesday into Thursday. And hurricane hunters flew through Milton just this afternoon. The storm is expected to bring dangerous winds and record storm surge. Mandatory evacuation orders have been issued for several counties along Florida's west coast. Officials in Tampa warning of the risks today.
We've never seen anything like this before. This is the storm of the century.
Say you're in a single-story home. 12 feet is above that house. So if you're in it, basically that's the coffin that you're in.
President Biden has also stressed that evacuating is a matter of life and death. Tonight, as Florida prepares, dozens of our local volunteers and crews are standing by to provide aid. The American Red Cross and PG&E already have boots on the ground. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has the details tonight.
Local volunteers with the American Red Cross are bracing for the worst as Hurricane Milton makes its way through Florida.
Fortunately, we had people on the ground ahead of Helene when it hit, so we were ready to receive people into our shelters. It is complicating when now there's another storm right on Helene's heels that's coming down.
Steve Walsh arrived in Macon, Georgia Tuesday morning in response to both hurricanes after assisting in North Carolina last week. He's based in Sacramento but deployed to the southern states facing the wreckage. He says across the country, about 2,000 volunteers have deployed to states such as Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee. 40 of them are from the Sacramento area and other counties in Northern California, but they are in dire need of more.
The Red Cross has an emergency appeal out for shelter workers. And essentially what that means is even if it's something you've never considered or never done, if you go to redcross.org and indicate that you want to volunteer, we will provide the training quickly. And then it's very likely that you could be on an airplane within 24 hours of completing the online training.
Now we got enough water.
Volunteers deploy for 2 weeks at a time and take on jobs from working in the shelters to communications and logistics. Local crews with PG&E are also on standby during the storm. After a weekend in Georgia, about 400 local PG&E electrical workers, support staff, and more than 300 vehicles are headed to Daytona Beach in Florida on the Atlantic side. This is footage of them leaving California last week. PG&E says they'll be in position to provide restoration help once it is safe to do so. Walsh with the American Red Cross says the help doesn't stop there. Once a volunteer's time is up, they will need more people to fill those roles.
We are also out in the field as we can, delivering meals, delivering supplies to people in places that we can reach, and that'll be going on for quite some time.
Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
And the Red Cross says that the biggest needs from the public include volunteering, of course, financial donations, and also blood donations. We still have a lot more news to get to. So coming up after the break, Vice Presidential candidate Tim Walz in Sacramento, how local leaders are reacting.
I'm still tracking record-setting temperatures for today, but the big headlines are cooler and near average temperatures ahead, plus a chance of showers.
And coming up later, the debate over ghost guns, what regulations the Supreme Court is considering. All right, let's go ahead and bring in the chief, our meteorologist, Monica Woods, tonight to take a look at our forecast. It was another hot day.
It was.
Please tell us some good news is coming.
I know. This was the tail end. It was another record setter for us in many ways. We'll look at the regional highs for today. 100s up and down the valley, or at least nearly that. Sacramento executive 99, Modesto 98. San Francisco, though, cooling to 71 this afternoon. So in terms of our records for today, it was Stockton hitting a high of 100, Modesto hitting a high of 99. But for downtown Sacramento, with that 100-degree day today, that's the 51st day with a high of at least 100, smashing the previous record of 44 days set back in 2022. So we just kind of added to that. And we hit 6 days in the month of October now, which is a new record for the amount of 100-degree days in the month of October. Forecast for tomorrow, we're going to continue with that cooling trend. Highs upper 80s for tomorrow afternoon. Sunrise 7:10, sunset at 6:36. We're also tracking that chance for showers. It comes in with this low, moving its way across the Pacific, hitting us by Saturday morning. Most of the shower chances will stay north of I-80, but we'll take any kind of moisture we can get at this point in the season. So our moderate to high confidence is cooler temperatures, more clouds, and that chance for showers. But we're going to have to continue to build on this. The shower location and the rain snow totals. Highs for tomorrow in the 70s for the Sierra, with 80s to near 90 for the foothills. We're in the 60s along the coast, 80s for much of the inland areas to right around 90 tomorrow afternoon after morning lows in the 50s. A mix of sun and clouds straight through that 5-day forecast for the mountains and hills, with cooling conditions into the weekend. For the coast, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds as well. Highs in the 80s for tomorrow, not only for the 3-day forecast, but the 7-day forecast and beyond, all the way through the next 10 days.
Next, on To the Point, local leaders meeting with vice presidential candidate Tim Walz in Sacramento, plus the latest on the campaign trail. And later in the show, the debate over ghost guns, what the Supreme Court justices could soon decide. Tonight in Your Voice, Your Vote, Democratic vice presidential candidate and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was in Sacramento today for a campaign fundraiser. ABC 10's Devin Truby was there for his arrival at Sacramento International Airport and has the details on his visit.
Rolling into the Sacramento International Airport, Democratic vice presidential candidate and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz emerges from the plane, a smile and a wave. His daughter Hope traveling with him. It's the Walz family first time ever in Sacramento. Walz was greeted by several of California's leaders, including Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis, Congressman Doris Matsui, and Treasurer Fiona Ma. Also in attendance, Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg.
I was very impressed.
The governor of Minnesota using this plane to make one of his many campaign fundraising stops along the West Coast.
On Sunday, Walz was in San Diego and Santa Barbara, Monday in Los Angeles, and then on to Seattle. In Sacramento, Walz attended a private fundraising event at the Carmichael home of developer Angelo Sikopoulos, father of Eleni Kounalakis. We caught up with Mayor Steinberg as he was leaving the event. Steinberg said he had to resist the urge to call him coach.
He gave a rousing speech, at the event, and really talked about the future, what's at stake for the future of this country, that we all know that, one candidate is for the people and the other is for himself.
In Sacramento, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
Governor Walz is now in Reno for another fundraising event. Vice President Kamala Harris continuing her media blitz today with interviews on The View and The Howard Stern Show. Kamala Harris talking policy, saying that she wants to help what's called the sandwich generation. That's adults who are taking care of both their parents and their children. She's also proposing changes to Medicare, saying if she wins in November, she plans to allow Medicare to cover in-home health care.
There are so many people in our country who are right in the middle. They're taking care of their kids and they're taking care of their aging parents. And it's just almost impossible to do it all, especially if they work.
Meanwhile, the Trump campaign denying reports in a new book by Bob Woodward that Trump had as many as 7 private phone calls with Russian President Vladimir Putin since he left office. The Trump campaign calling Woodward's book made-up stories. Both campaigns are focusing on battleground states. Trump is planning to take 2 stops in Pennsylvania tomorrow. Harris is traveling to Nevada for a town hall that's on Thursday. And today, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in a major case on ghost guns. Those are pretty much guns that are usually sold in parts online that can be self-assembled with no serial numbers, making them very difficult to trace. The court will decide if there should be more regulations around the guns.
Today, the Supreme Court heard arguments on regulations to ghost guns, which are virtually untraceable guns sold in parts online with no serial numbers.
But nothing in Congress's use of the term weapon suggests that it has to presently be functional as an instrument of combat in order to qualify.
According to the ATF, the number of ghost guns recovered by police skyrocketed, up more than 1,000% from 2017 to 2021. The case in front of the High Court centers around a 2022 executive action by President Biden, requiring companies to add serial numbers to ghost guns, run background checks on buyers, and verify buyers are at least 21 years old.
Since this rule has taken effect in 2022, and under other pressure brought to bear on the industry, including some lawsuits that we were involved in and other actions, We've actually seen the number of ghost gun recoveries at crime scenes start to come down.
Gun part makers and gun rights groups challenging Biden's executive action, arguing the rule exceeds ATF's authorities because weapons kits do not meet the definition of firearm under the law.
Just like some individuals enjoy like working on their car every weekend, some individuals want to construct their own firearms.
Cody Wilson is one of the largest manufacturers of gun parts kits.
We don't sell firearms, right? So my company will never have a federal firearms license and therefore will never perform the NICS background check.
The Supreme Court is expected to make a ruling in the coming months. Right now, justices seem likely to uphold the Biden administration's regulations. In just a few hours, the Tropicana Hotel in Las Vegas will be gone forever. The city will implode the building at 2:30 a.m. with a fireworks display and also a drone show. The land will be used for the $1.5 billion baseball stadium for the Oakland Athletics. Still ahead on To the Point, how a local dance company is promoting Latino culture and music while building community. Tonight, we are continuing our Hispanic Heritage Month coverage, and Sacramento's Yamaya Dance Studio was born 24 years ago. Since the very beginning, every step has been danced with an appreciation of salsa and bachata's Hispanic roots. And right now, ABC 10 photojournalist Don Henry takes us inside for a closer look.
Our studio is Yamaya Dance Studio. It is the home of our dance company, Yamaya Salsa Dance Company. We do offer salsa and bachata training. We do aim to give that proper training for individuals that come and looking more towards enhancing and bettering their dancing. The Yamaya is being referred to Mother Earth or Mother Nature or Goddess of the Ocean. She is one of the Orishas or the gods of Afro-Cuban religion.
For me, this is the link to my culture because I was born here in the United States. It was very Americanized, and so it wasn't until I really started dancing salsa, really understanding my roots personally. So it's really important for me to stay in link because I get to learn a lot of the history, specifically in Mexico.
Salsa is not only a dance, it's a community. It's a group of people who want to share the Latin culture and Latin dances, and they have fun doing it. And that's the most important part.
Just kind of brought back some of the feelings I had when we would have family gatherings when I was at a young age, and we danced cha-cha-cha, we danced merengue and things like that in our culture as well, which is the Filipino culture.
I love the music and I love to dance because, yes, for me, I don't think about nothing when I'm dancing, just enjoying the moment.
Or for me, it brought a sense of, just like happiness. There was always kind of live music, something going on, somebody was dancing. It was not my sister, it was my mom. So it definitely brought a different type of vibe than listening to the music that was current status. Because like I said, there's a lot of culture where the music came from, where the dance came from, who invented what, and so things like that I feel is very much being hidden the bigger it gets, and so that's the most important, is to making sure the history is still alive. I know what you're thinking right now. You're probably like, that looks like so much fun.
Well, guess what? If you want to try salsa for yourself, Yamaya is having an open house this Saturday starting at 1 p.m. and it includes free dance workshops, so you can get out there and dance too. For more information, all you have to do is just visit abc10.com/links. As always, thank you so much for watching us and for inviting us into your home each and every night. If you have something that we should be looking into, make sure to reach out to me and the team. And To the Point does not end here. To watch stories featured on our show, just download the free ABC 10 Plus app wherever you stream. Have a great night. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.